Welcome back to our channel. Before we begin, please like, share, and subscribe for more videos. Today, we're diving into a huge topic. Lesson 3, Nationalism. Nationalism is one of the most powerful political and emotional forces in modern history. Nationalism refers to the deep love, pride, and loyalty people feel toward their country, culture, or nation. Nationalism became especially strong in the Western world after 1850, shaping politics, wars, and social movements. The feeling of nationalism is based on shared elements such as language, religion, history, and customs, which make people feel that they belong to the same community. Although the roots of nationalism go back many centuries, it became a major force during the 19th century, especially in Europe. It united some countries, like Italy and Germany, but divided others, such as Austria-Hungary and the Ottoman Empire, where many different national groups lived. Nationalism also played a big role in causing World War I, 1914 to 1918, because it made people and leaders more aggressive, competitive, and unwilling to compromise. Let us see the details below. The growth of nationalism in the 19th century. During the 19th century, many changes helped nationalism grow stronger. Governments began using education, newspapers, and military service to create a sense of unity and pride among their citizens. Governments began using education for the growth of nationalism. All children were required to go to school. Education was used to teach not only reading and writing, but also patriotism and loyalty to the state. Children learned national songs, stories, and histories that made them proud of their country. Military service was another tool. Young men were required to serve in the army for a certain number of years. This experience made them feel connected to their country and taught them discipline and loyalty. The rise of mass newspapers also strengthened nationalism. For the first time, people across the country could read the same stories about national heroes, wars, and politics. These newspapers often used emotional and patriotic language, encouraging pride in one's country and fear or dislike of other nations. Even newspapers for the educated upper class often carried nationalistic or militaristic ideas. Literature and art of this period also reflected nationalism. Writers, poets, and artists celebrated their nation's history, language, and culture. Many of them warned about the dangers of rival nations and encouraged people to defend their homeland. At the same time, patriotic societies were formed. These organizations promoted national pride, stronger armies, and sometimes even larger empires. Members of these societies believed that defending or expanding their nation was a noble duty. Wars and national unity. Nationalism was both a uniting and dividing force. In some places, it helped create new countries. In others, it led to division and conflict. For example, in Italy and Germany, nationalism encouraged wars of unification. Before the mid-19th century, Italy and Germany were divided into many small states. Strong leaders like Count Cavour in Italy and Otto von Bismarck in Germany used wars and diplomacy to unite their people under one government. These successes inspired other national movements across Europe. In the Balkans, nationalism took a different form: wars of liberation. The peoples of the Balkans, such as the Serbs, Greeks, and Bulgarians, fought to gain independence from the weakening Ottoman Empire. Their victories encouraged other ethnic groups to seek independence too. In Britain, nationalism was closely linked with the growth and pride of its colonial empire. During the 19th century, Britain controlled vast territories across Africa, Asia, and the Caribbean, making it the largest empire in the world. Many British people believed that ruling over other nations proved their country's strength, civilization, and superiority. The slogan, "The sun never sets on the British Empire," showed their pride and confidence in their global power. British schools, newspapers, and politicians often celebrated the empire as a source of national glory, teaching people that expansion was a patriotic duty and a sign of progress. However, the Boer War, 1899 to 1902, in South Africa challenged this image of British greatness. The war was fought between Britain and the Boers, Dutch settlers of South Africa, over control of rich mining areas. Though Britain eventually won, the victory came at a heavy cost. Thousands of soldiers died, and the war was expensive and unpopular at home. Reports of harsh treatment of civilians in concentration camps also damaged Britain's moral reputation. This led to public debates about whether maintaining such a large empire was truly worth the human and financial cost. For a time, enthusiasm for imperial expansion declined, and some British citizens began questioning the ethics of colonial rule. But by the early 20th century, Britain once again experienced a surge of national pride and unity. This revival was largely due to the rise of Germany as a powerful industrial and military rival. Germany's growing navy and ambitions to build its own empire alarmed the British government and public. Fear of losing their dominant position in world affairs reignited a sense of patriotism among the British people. They began to see their empire not only as a source of pride, but also as something that had to be protected from rival powers. Thus, British nationalism during this time was shaped by both pride and fear, pride in their global empire and fear of competition from other rising nations. This combination of emotions helped push Britain toward building stronger military forces and alliances, eventually playing a major role in the events leading up to World War I. In the United States, nationalism was strengthened by victory in the Spanish-American War of 1898, when the U.S. defeated Spain and gained control of territories like the Philippines and Puerto Rico. This made Americans feel proud of their country's growing global power. The role of social Darwinism. Another major factor that intensified nationalism was a pseudoscientific theory called social Darwinism. This idea misused Charles Darwin's theory of evolution by suggesting that nations and races, like animals, were in constant competition for survival. Social Darwinists believed that strong nations deserved to rule over weaker ones, and that war was a natural and necessary part of human progress. This belief made nationalism more aggressive and militaristic, as people began to see conflict as a test of their country's strength and superiority. Many politicians, military leaders, and even teachers spread this idea, convincing people that their nation had to fight in order to survive. This attitude contributed to the arms race and rising tensions in Europe before World War I, nationalism and fragmentation. Between the 1880s and 1914, nationalism began to change its nature. Earlier in the century, it had brought people together to form larger nations like Italy and Germany. Later, it started to divide multinational empires into smaller ethnic groups that wanted independence. In Austria-Hungary and Tsarist Russia, many different nationalities lived under one government: Germans, Hungarians, Poles, Czechs, Ukrainians, and others. Each group wanted to promote its own language, culture, and political rights, leading to tension and rebellion. Language became a key symbol of identity. Many minority groups demanded that their languages be treated equally with those of the ruling nation. Disputes over language and education created deep divisions within countries. nationalism also became a class issue. Many of the new national movements were led by the petty bourgeoisie, the small business owners, teachers, and local officials. These groups saw nationalism as a way to gain better jobs and more respect in society. For them, promoting their national language or culture could also mean more employment in government offices or schools. Governments used nationalism as a double-edged weapon. On one hand, they encouraged it to build loyalty and distract workers from socialist or revolutionary ideas. On the other hand, nationalism among minority groups could weaken the state by encouraging rebellion and disunity. Nationalism in the United States. The United States provides an interesting example of how nationalism can unite a very diverse society. In the 19th century, millions of immigrants came to the U.S. from Europe. Most of them left their home countries because of poverty, persecution, or lack of opportunity. In America, they found a new homeland that offered freedom, jobs, and social mobility. The government and schools worked hard to assimilate these immigrants, to make them feel American by teaching them the English language, U.S. history, and civic values. This process of assimilation was largely successful. Immigrants developed a sense of pride in being American, creating a strong and unified national identity based on shared ideals of liberty and opportunity, rather than a single language or religion. In summary, nationalism became one of the most influential forces in the modern world. It shaped politics, inspired revolutions, united countries like Germany and Italy, and caused conflicts in multinational empires such as Austria-Hungary and the Ottoman Empire. Governments used schools, newspapers, and military service to build patriotic citizens. Writers, artists, and scientists promoted national pride, but also spread dangerous ideas like social Darwinism, which glorified war and competition between nations. By the early 20th century, nationalism had both positive and negative effects. It gave people a sense of unity, identity, and purpose, but it also created suspicion, hatred, and rivalry among nations, which eventually contributed to the outbreak of World War I. In simple terms, nationalism showed the power of shared identity, the belief that people with common language, culture, or history belong together. Yet, when mixed with fear and pride, it also became a force of division and war. Understanding nationalism helps us see how human emotions, culture, and politics can both unite and divide the world. Review questions 1. What is nationalism? Answer. Nationalism is a strong feeling of love, pride, and loyalty people have toward their country, language, culture, and history. It makes people believe that those who share the same identity should live together in one nation and govern themselves. 2. What factors helped nationalism grow in the 19th century? Answer. Nationalism grew stronger because of compulsory education, military service, and mass newspapers that spread patriotic messages. Governments and schools taught children national songs and stories, while newspapers and literature promoted national pride and loyalty. 3. How did nationalism lead to both unity and division in Europe? Answer. Nationalism united people in some countries, such as Italy and Germany, where it helped bring small states together into one nation. But in multinational empires like Austria-Hungary and the Ottoman Empire, it caused division as different ethnic groups wanted independence. 4. What role did social Darwinism play in nationalism? Answer. Social Darwinism was a false idea that applied Darwin's theory of evolution to human societies. It taught that nations were in constant struggle for survival and that strong nations had the right to rule over weaker ones. This belief made nationalism more aggressive and contributed to wars. 5. What were the positive and negative effects of nationalism? Answer. The positive effects of nationalism include unity, independence, and a shared sense of identity among people. The negative effects include hatred, rivalry, and wars between nations. While nationalism united countries like Germany, it also led to global conflicts such as World War I. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe for more videos.